This is probably one of the oddest team up decks I've ever had. Let's go into Kashtira Goblin Biker. What's going on, fellow trailhards? It's Tom with Trycard Gaming, bringing you back a brand new deck profile. Today we're going to go over the unlikely meetup between the Goblin Bikers and Kashtira. So today it's going to be a very much so an XYZ turbo deck. It's pretty much what this is at the core. And it's allowed to play shifter somehow. Usually when you have cards like Levier along with your rank 3 engine here, you're very much so able to kind of turbo out a lot of your stuff that you banished earlier in the game if you do open up shifter. If you don't, then you're able to do combo as normal, and that might change up some of the cards that you pick off of some of your goblin spells and some of your goblin effects. So let's go ahead and get into some of the engine. We're going to start off with my favorite, the Goblin Biker engine. We have your Boom the Mock Speed, or Boom Mock is what it's called now in the TCG. He's going to allow you to, during the main phase, quick effect detach one off of any one material off of any XYZ on the field, and then he's going to special summon himself. But whenever you use this effect, you can't use that effect next turn. And then we have Clutter, or Clatter, I think is his name now. So what he's going to be able to do is, on normal or special summon, he lets you Monster Reborn target a goblin in graveyard and then Monster Reborn it. And then, while he's in graveyard, you can quick effect detach one, special him to the field after you detach one. So these cards are kind of utility. If you're under shifter, you kind of want to get rid of Boon first, because it's just easier to not lose a Mionda if you have it. If you just so happen to have it, words. It's just really good to have. Mionda, or I can't remember what it's called now in the TCG, where they just announced the new names and stuff for it. But this card on normal or special summon is able to special another goblin from hand. If this card is in your hand, or after you special this card, then again you're able to bring out any other goblin name besides Mionda. And if this card is in your graveyard, it has a similar effect to Clatter, but it's not quick effect, and you can do it during your turn. So you're able to detach one from anything on the field, special herself out of the graveyard, but banish it when it leaves the field. As many of you know, if you overlay that rule doesn't apply anymore. So you're able to kind of immediately overlay that with your goblins and go into some other rank 6 or rank 3 play. Then we have Doug Charger, I think is his name in the TCG now, who is allowed, from in hand, he can detach one from any XYZ on the field, special himself, and then add a Goblin Rider spell or trap to hand. Preface to this: if you are not under droll, or if you are under droll, if you're about to get drolled, this is your main starter. But man, does it suck to get hit by droll right after you drop a Doug. So you guys, this is partially why I run shifter in this deck, because if you can run it, you might as well, because being able to recycle your level 3s from banished with Levier is just really great, and it's really important to do. So also another preface here: if you are going to build this deck, you can run more rank 3 turbo stuff. This is just how I've got it right now. You can run more like the Psychic package, run E-Telly, Psychic Wielder, and Psychic Rover. You can run the Terratop engine, but keep in mind, if you run the Speedroids, the 2 Terratop and the 1 Taka Tomborg, you run a higher risk of getting drolled. So as of right now, I tried to minimize that with, again, running D-Shifter in the main board, as well as running Tour Guide instead of the Terratop package. So again, Tour Guide is a generic rank 3 turbo card. It just allows you to dump out another level 3 Fiend. So what's a level Fiend in here? Mionda just so happens to be a Fiend in this list. So or in the Goblin Rider package, which I'm excited for. I couldn't be happier that this card's actually a Fiend. And then for the spells, we kind of shortened down the Goblin engine. We have 2 Grand Entrance now, which is Grand Arrival, and we have the 1 Grand Meeting, or Grand Bash. Grand Bash is going to be the really important one, which I thought about bumping back up to 2, because being able to level modulate is extremely important. being able to go up to a 6. And there are some things that I've changed and updated through my other lists, where you can now run the transaction rollback package with the My Kashi trap along with the transaction rollback. Really cheesy now, I know, but you're able to pretty much My Kashi lock people. But those are the main spells, and then of course you have the rest of the deck, which is Kashtira. You have 3 Fenrir, really good utility card. A Unicorn, which is going to be one of your main starters. Of course, with any Kashtira deck, Unicorn is the best way to start. 2 Rise Heart, why not 3? Well, it's already kind of tight in the main anyway, so we might as well just run 2. We run the Scareclaw Kashtira as well, just another level 7 name, and then Ogre for control. I mean, that's what they did in the OCG, so why not do it in the ECG? And then we go 2-2 with Theosis and the Birth. Just again, really good. Race Off to be able to add Unicorn to hand, and then your 1 Rhoda to add your Goblins. You can add Boon, or you can add Doug, or you can add Rise Heart. You can add any of those 3 to your hand, and just be able to continue doing what you need to do. And then, of course, for the last 2 cards, we have your Prep, and then we also have your Big Bang, which will indeed come up later on. And then you have your hand traps, which is the 3D shifter, which right now is probably one of the most impactful hand traps in the entire game, and probably one of the most broken in the game. 3 Ash, which is, you know, generic as all get out. You can use it through Droll, and then Nibiru, because if they overextend while you have shifter on field, you're able to banish everything they got. So, and then side deck again. I always like to say this: if you have a side deck built, you build it to what you believe you like. It also varies on the tournament you're going to. Build it however you think is the best. I recommend definitely like if you're going to a bigger event like a YCS, the broader the better, and especially same thing with regionals, just a little bit more compact, just kind of similar but not the same, if that makes sense. And now let's get to the one thing that everybody's kind of looking forward to, which is the extra deck. So we run 2 Gabunga here just for utility, just in case we get rid of them. There are several different packages again you can run. We run Leviair because again, this card by itself plays through Shifter. You're able to detach 1 material and then target a banished card. So you're able to bring back any of these level 3s that you had previously, and you're just able to continue to keep rattling off and extend even through Shifter. You could probably run that card at 2, and if I'd be so daring to say, I could probably run 2 in this deck, and I'd dare take out a Gabunga over. I'd rather have 2 Leviair than 2 Gabunga in this case. Ashura King, I think this is a really slept on rank figure right now. It does take a lot of materials, but it is an OTK card if you can get it on field. And then you have your Bamboozling Gossip Shadow, another way to insulate your combos for Nibiru. Whenever an opponent's monster activates an effect, there you go Nibiru, you can detach 2 and then change the effect to everybody draws a card. So, Crazy Beast, which I'm surprised is a common in the upcoming set. There's a video that I put out yesterday. I missed this card. This card is awesome. It's once per duel, lets you Monster Reborn itself, and then you can detach 2 off of any card on the field, and then pretty much Machinex sucks up a spell or trap on field. Really good card, and I think this is going to be really important into this next format as well, with cards like Fire King Island and King Sark and all these other cards rolling around. Lars is your general on-field negate, Omni negate, face-up card negate, however you want to say it. It's really good to have. And now we're getting to your rank 7 plays. So we have 1 Shang. I had this at 2, but I found that there was another rank 7 that you could run. But this card again is your standard rank 7 Kashtira play. You're able to lock zones, which you're not using it for that. You're using it to pretty much turbo out your control-esque monsters from the Kashtira engine. That's what the Kashtira engine does. And now we have your other rank. Most of the rest of these are going to be rank 7s. You have your X-Pearly Happiness, which I've been seeing recently, and not a lot of people have been running it, but it has a good effect even if you don't have pearly stuff attached to it. So it is pretty much a giant detach 1 Dark Ruler no more. It just negates everything on the field. All face up monsters your opponent controls. So it just negates everything on your opponent's side of the field. But they still take damage, so it's not quite like a Dark Ruler no more, but it's still a mass negate on your opponent's side. Number 11 Big Eye, good snatch steal thing to use to be able to get rid of some of your opponent's monsters if you so need to. Just really, again, generic level 7 to get good to have. Red Ice Flare Metal, which is your tax dragon that is going to win you in time, or if your opponent is down low enough and you have nothing else and they are down to their last few cards and the last few life points, this card will win you the game. This card is really, really good to have and just overall a pain to deal with sometimes. And then we have the Dark Arm Dragon of Annihilation. Really good way to remove some stuff on field, and a good way to pop a card and then banish a card from your graveyard. You can banish Theosis and to add back one of your banished Kashtira monsters, and it just kind of, the cycle keeps continuing, so it's really good to have that. Draco Sack. If you're wanting to run a heavier link package in this deck, this card is going to be extremely important. Say if you wanted to throw the Adventure Engine in here, which you can if you so choose. What you could do is you could detach 1, make 2 of the Mecha Phantom Beast tokens, and then go into Cherubini with those 2 tokens because they're level 3. So at that point you can pitch for cost and send a Water Enchantress to grave to get access to your Rite of Aramesir, ergo getting into your Fateful Adventure. The last 2 are your last 2 generic XYZs, which is Zeus and Typhon. I'm really on the fence right now about Typhon. It's just one of those things where it's good to have it, not need it, than need it, not have it. But I haven't used it a whole lot, so I think that it might be on the chopping block, but I think as of right now, we'll have to find out and wait and see. But that's the list. Let's go ahead and get into some of the combos. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into some of the combos. So as you can see, what we have here is like the generic rank 3 tour guide, as well as your Kashtira Unicorn and as D-Shifter. So again, if you see D-Shifter, you're pretty much gaming. If you see any combination of these cards, you're probably going to do really well. You're probably going to have a really easy time getting into what you need to get into. So what we're going to go ahead and do, so if we're going to play without Shifter, we'll do that first. So one of the main things that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and special summon our Unicorn and activate Unicorn effect. Hope, pray to God we don't get drolled. We're going to go ahead and grab our Kashtira Theosis. And then once we add Theosis to hand, we're going to be able to use Theosis to target our Unicorn and go into another level 7. So this will XYZ lock us, which, oh well, we're an XYZ deck, we don't care. Again, if you have Shifter here, it's really good. Specifically, that's why this deck was so important. It's because if you open up Shifter, you play around Droll, and this deck just inherently makes a Macrocosmos all by itself, or used to anyway, before it got banned. So here we're going to go ahead and grab our Fenrir. Make sure, for those who don't know, if you're playing somebody who is playing Cash, please note that whenever they special summon off of Theosis, that they special summon in defense. That's the card, that's what it says, you need to do it that way. So at this point we have Theosis, and we can go ahead and get Fenrir. Now we can activate Fenrir effect. And then we will grab, of course, our Rise Heart to hand. And at this point, we can go ahead and normal summon if we so choose, which we can go ahead and get into our tour guide. But we'll go ahead and activate our Rise Heart to special. And then we will go ahead and overlay these two to go into our Shang. And since we have not used our Rise Heart yet, we're going to go ahead and go into Rise Heart, or use Rise Heart's effect to... Sorry about that, guys. Came about that on me. So, back to what I was saying. We will use Rise Heart's effect to banish for cost one of our cards from our deck, and we are going to banish, well, specifically a Kashtira card. We're going to banish our Big Bang. And then on a new chain, we're going to be able to go Chain Link 1 Shang, Chain Link 2 Bang. And as you guys know in the past, we all, whenever we're playing Kashtira, we always go Shanging and Banging. So what we're going to do is we're going to be able to use Shang to lock a zone. My personal preference with all the new pendulum support coming out is guaranteed to go ahead and lock one of those pendulum zones in the back row because it's going to be very important. So, and then we will detach one, usually being Fenrir, and it'll let us add it to hand, but we're special summoning because of Big Bang. And then at this point we can go into another rank 7, and we will go ahead and go into our you go, depending on if you're going first or second, this changes. You can go into Red Eye Sweater Metal if you just want to have the utility on there just to be able to burn them for everything they do. Again, if you're going second, you'll probably go Big Eye or Dark Heart of Dragon of Annihilation, or if you wanted to kind of do a link heavier play, which I'll probably end up changing a little bit, you probably want to go ahead and do Draco Stack. So here we'll just go ahead and go into the Tax Man himself. Still haven't normaled through any of this, so we're going to go ahead and then go ahead and go Tour Guide and go Tour Guide Effect to be able to special out a Fiend, and we're going to special out Mionda, which is here. And I know I mentioned earlier if you're playing through Shifter you kind of don't want to go through this, but if you open up Tour Guide you have to. So that's one of the main things, but if you don't, then you can go Boon or add something else off of the Gabunga search. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and overlay these two and go into our Gabunga. And then we will use Gabunga's effect to add our Doug to hand. If we're not playing through Shifter, again, we'll go ahead and add Doug to hand. We will use Doug's effect to detach one from anything on field. So we can go ahead and either detach one off of Shang, the last one we need, and then special him. And then we declare Doug's effect to add. So, and honestly, you probably don't want to detach off of that. You probably want to detach off Gabunga. So let's actually rewind that a little bit. We'll go ahead and detach off the Mionda, because if we do that instead, we're not able to go into a rank 6 play. So we'll go ahead and move this back, and we will detach our Mionda instead. And this will allow us to search our Goblin our Grand Bash or Grand Meeting, whatever it's going to be called. And then we'll be able to activate that. And now that we have our Mionda in graveyard, we can use this effect to detach one and special. So at this point now we can detach one off of Shang and special out our Mionda. And yes, I know we're playing through Nib, or we're playing into Nib at this point. So if you wanted to play more specifically through Nib, then you want to go ahead and go into one of your other rank 3s that have like an Omni Negate, or like Bamboozling Gossip Shadow. You can go into that first and foremost if you wanted to kind of insulate your cash combo. But this is one of the main things that you can do if you're not worried about it. Grand Meeting is going to allow you to target 2 goblins and then adjust their level to either make them the same level or make them the combined level of both of them. So you're going to target Mionda and your Doug to make them both level 6 at this point. And if you have, you can run Beatrice in this deck. And then with Transaction Rollback, believe it or not, you're able to use Transaction Rollback in the new or the old Mayakashi trap to lock people out of playing the game on their turn. So, fun interaction. But at this point, you can go Lars here, or you can go Crazy Beast, and just be able to have more interaction on your opponent's turn. Lars is another form, is an on-field Omni Negate, and Crazy Beast again is a Speller Trap attached, like a Mocking X. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually do Crazy Beast here. But just keep in mind, you have an arsenal of rank 6s and 7s that you can use out of all of these. You can use you can use Dragon Knight Felgrand. No, I think he's an 8. Might be an 8. But you do have a lot of level 7s that you can mess around and play with for this deck. But this is just one of the things, if you open up both, Unicorn and Tour Guide, you've pretty much got the full combo there. I mean, way beyond full combo. If you just open up one or the other, you have one side or the other of either combo. So it's really good to note that this deck is able to just kind of make up the difference between some of the gaps that Kashtira used to have in terms of bricking really bad. So you're able to kind of bridge that gap with extra engine, I guess. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the next part. Alright, so this is the next little line that you have, which is, instead of opening up Tour Guide, you open up Unicorn as well as Doug. So both of these are going to be able to, again, get you started in one way, shape, or form. But of course you're going to try to start into your Kashtira stuff first, because you can't just normal summon Doug and then proceed to try to special, because you can't have any monsters whenever you special summon a cash monster. So we'll go ahead and start off with Unicorn, and usually you're going to want to do the same combo line we did before, which is go ahead and use Unicorn effect to grab ourselves a Theosis. And this is going to get you the same sort of line, just the only difference is this card, it's going to kind of let you, it's going to take more materials to do what you want to do. So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and use Theosis, again targeting Unicorn, and you're going to be able to bring out your Fenrir. Again, always special in defense for those who don't know. And then Fenrir is going to allow us to search. We'll go ahead and search our Rise Heart. And then at this point, we can go ahead and overlay if we so choose. We're just going to go ahead while we're here and special summon out our Rise Heart, and then we'll overlay. And move this here to go into our Shang. And you can use Rise Heart's effect once again to be able to banish Big Bang and do the whole thing again to get another level 7 and make Rise Heart a level 7. So we'll go ahead and do that. We will, it'll let me view. Maybe. There we go. We'll go ahead and banish our Big Bang here. And then we will be able to detach and bring back our Fenrir. Now at this point we are also able to go ahead and overlay these two. Oh, didn't mean to do that. We'll go ahead and bring back out the Shang, because with the Unicorn on there, and that'll go there. These will overlay. There we go. Now we're back to normal. At this point, we can go to the Tax Dragon. We can go to Drake of Sack. We can do whatever we so choose with whatever we have in our utility belt for rank 7s. Again, I like to go into Flare Metal just because it's a good tax card. And then at this point we can go ahead, it's still not normal, we can go ahead and use Doug effect to special summon himself and detach one. So we will go ahead and detach our Fenrir, and then we are able to declare the effect of Doug to search. And instead of grabbing the Grand Meeting, we're going to go ahead and grab the Grand Entrance or the Grand Arrival. Now this Grand Arrival will allow you to do pretty much the same thing, but you don't want to leave Tax Dragon without any materials on it, because again it makes it, can be destroyed by card effects whenever it doesn't have any material, but if it does have material, it can't be destroyed. So we'll go ahead and use that effect to add ourselves. Usually you can add Boon here, but if you're trying to go into Gabunga, you want to go ahead and go Mionda here if we're not under Shifter. And then we will detach the Unicorn off of Shang, special summon our Mionda. And then we'll do our regular combo. We'll go ahead and go into our Gabunga again. And then Gabunga will allow us to search, which will then allow us to search for Boone the Mock Speed here. You can search Clatter, but you can't special him, so that's the only downside to it. We'll go ahead and use the effect to special and detach Meonda, and then we can use Meonda effect again to special and detach. We'll go ahead and detach off Gabunga. We don't have our grand meeting, so we're going to have to go into another rank 3. So what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and go into our Omni here. We'll go ahead and go into our Bamboozling Gossip Shadow. So that is one form of, I guess, effect to negate, to be able to make you and your opponent both the draw card. Also, during your standby phase, you have Shang, which is going to allow you to special summon a cash name. So you can bring out Kashtira Fenrir, or if you're intrigued with what your opponent is playing, you can go ahead and grab Ogre to then look at the top 5 with the banish one face down and continue to do what you want to do. So I usually like to go Ogre or Fenrir. Fenrir is actually kind of important right now. I think it's always been a really good card, so just go ahead. And this is your main inboard, what your main inboard looks like. Without Shifter, it looks very similar through Shifter as well. So that's the second one. We'll go ahead and do, for last but not least, we'll go ahead and go through these combos through Shifter. Okay, so this is the first and second combo pretty much, or the combos that I went over. Pretty much the exact same, but we now have Shifter in the graveyard, so we're able to be Droll proof here. So Droll, for you guys that know, and for you that don't, Droll cannot activate under Shifter. So because it has to be specifically sent to the graveyard, so it cannot meet the requirements there. Now that we have Shifter on the field, we're pretty much able to search for whatever we want, with the exception of Ash and Imperm. So again, we're going to go ahead and do our normal start here. We're going to go Unicorn effect to be able to search out our Theosis. And now that we have our Theosis, well, again, we'll just go ahead and slap it in the field spell, or in the spell trap card zone to go into our Fenrir here. And then this will banish. Usually this would trigger Theosis if we had another Kashtira name in banished to add back to hand, but we do not, so can't do nothing. So we will activate Fenrir though to search once again. We will add the usual Rise Heart. For those who know, this is the regular cash combo. If you're trying to go Rise Heart Pass, it's the exact same thing. This will allow you to then again special summon your Rise Heart, and then you will go ahead and overlay the two to go into your Shang or Ira here. And now that you have Shang, you can activate Rise Heart to then banish for cost, and then banish your Big Bang once again to go Chainlink 1 Shang, Chainlink 2 Bang to lock a zone, and then special one of the materials underneath it, or what it says is add to hand and special it if you so choose. So you're able to add back one of the materials, which is usually Fenrir, and then special it from hand. So what I usually do is attach here, and then special summon, and then you get to lock a zone with Shang. So again, I mentioned this before, I always feel comfortable going with the pendulum zones first, because I don't know what I'm playing against. That's usually going to be my rule of thumb, especially with some of this new Magic Spectre stuff coming out. And plus, back row decks are still very prominent right now. This is going to be very important. So what I like to do from here is, again, we can go ahead and overlay into another rank 7. We can go ahead and go into either a Draco Sack, or we can go into a Tax Dragon, which is what I usually like to do. And then we will go ahead and normal summon our Tour Guide and declare Tour Guide effect to grab our Meonda, which in this case we have to grab Meonda, but we are able to get it out later if we so choose to get it. We'll go ahead and overlay these two to go into our Gabunga here, and then declare Gabunga effect to grab our Doug, and then we have normal summoned here, so we have to use Doug's effect. We will declare Doug effect to then detach Tour Guide. Tour Guide will be banished. There we go. And we get to special summon Doug. Declare Doug effect. Now again, you are left with the dilemma here if you want to grab the if you grab the Grand Arrival or if you grab the Grand Bash or Grand Meeting. Usually you're going to have to grab the Grand Arrival here if you're wanting to put another body on field. If you have more gas in hand though, if you have Boon already in hand, you are able to go ahead and grab Grand Meeting to either normal summon him for free or to be able to do more continuing plays to be able to make another rank 6 instead of another rank 3. So in this case, we have to grab Goblin Riders because these are the only two. We're starting with 3 cards if you're counting Shifter, but it's literally the same 2 cards. It's Tour Guide and Unicorn. These are going to get you access to both engines right off the rip. And if you open one or the other, you pretty much have full access to one or full access to the other. Same thing with Doug. Doug is kind of the exception. He's able to add to hand, but if you don't have another way to get, that's why I've thought about running 2 of the continuous instead of 1. But then you'll activate this to add to hand. You'll go ahead and add, you definitely want to add Boon here. Because if you don't add Boon, then again, if you add Clatter, you don't have anything engraved to special because you're still under Shifter, and this card is just, useful to be able to get out of the way, pretty much. So this, we'll go ahead and attach off of Shang. Actually, because we get to attach during every turn anyway, we'll go ahead and get rid of one off Shang because we don't care too much if we lose it or not. And then we'll go ahead and special out our Boon. And then we can overlay these 2 once again to have our Bamboozler. So this is the same board again under Shifter. That should be in Banished, but it's the same board, so you're able to end on pretty much the exact same thing. It's the same thing with if you open up Doug and if you open up Unicorn. Again, you just play more freely because Doug, you're going to go into Shang before you even play Doug. And when you get into Shang again, you're going to be able to special summon your Doug and then search out for something else, which is probably going to be Grand Meeting or Grand Entrance to be able to grab another Goblin and then special it and then go into a rank free play. So you're going to be able to end on 2 XYZs, 3 XYZs, 2 of them rank 7s, 1 of them rank 3. So you're in on another Gabunga or a Bamboozling Gossip Shadow. It just really varies on what you want to do. And again, on the field right now, you have you're going to be able to grab another Kashtira monster, usually being Fenrir. You have a burn here, or again, you have a whole another arsenal of rank 7s. This is just what I like to do. Gabunga is going to allow you to attach a monster that your opponent controls to him, and you have the effect switch to draw, both of you draw a card to get more resources later on. But guys, that's going to be it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed the deck build. This is just something I've been tweaking around with. It doesn't mean it's going to be the best deck in the room, but it's something that I think you can very much so still do because this deck really, Goblin Engine really hates draw. You just can't hardly play the deck through draw. Makes it really tough and really just not playable through draw. So this deck, if you run Shifter and you have the Kashtira engine, you have that little bit extra help to be able to bear the weight of draw and not actually have it be able to be dropped on you. But there's also a couple new things that I've been tweaking around with here recently. For those who don't know, Transaction Rollback came out in Maze of Millennia, and it's going to be a really crazy card. It's actually pretty crazy right now because you can use the Mayakashi manuscript trap to pitch it off Beatrice. So Goblin Rider can now use Beatrice because it's able to make rank 6 with the new Grand Bash. And then during your turn, you could pitch Transaction Rollback, and then during your opponent's draw phase, pitch the Mayakashi manuscript, and then use Transaction Rollback to then use the Mayakashi manuscript to skip your opponent's turn. So this is going to be, I think it's going to be a very big problem coming up. So, but let me know down in the comments, man. Let me know what you guys think of this video. I'm really excited to play around with this deck. Again, we got like 2 more weeks until we get the Goblin Rider stuff. We're doing a whole case opening with my buddy Old Man Higgins and my buddy Brad. So I'm really excited to do that. Be ready for that. It's going to be awesome. Again, don't forget to check down in the link below. I have the Discord. The giveaway is now live. So you guys, again, till February 3rd is when we're going to do the drawing on it in the Discord server. So you have to be in the Discord to do this. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and sub while you're here. And guys, thank you for being here. You guys are awesome. My name's Tom with Track Our Games. We'll see you next time.